from that release list, there's not an awful lot of wage budget that's been freed up there. Like, there's none of them that you're looking at and thinking, yeah, that's a big wage that we can throw elsewhere. So, barring the very nice man in Indonesia, if he's listening, or Mark winning the Euro Millions, I think we're going to have to shift players to get the required quality in that we need. You'd think of the big wages, you'd think Turnbull would be a big wage, you think Hemmings would be, you'd think they'd probably be two of our top earners. And I think in Hemmings' case, is he pulling his weight for that wage? No. But likewise, can you find clubs to take that wage off you? Is the worry. Paul Lewis is a player who obviously we gave a 2-year to. And I'm not a Paul Lewis fan. I think in this new system, he could be a useful squad player and an option off the bench. The rest of them, I think Bristow, you might get bids for. And I'll be honest, if it was a case of we lose Cogley and Bristow, we end up with two average fullbacks, but we then end up with a really good centre forward and a really good central midfielder and goalkeeper. I think that's a lot better outcome in terms of how you spread the wage budget. I know there's been talks that Hawks might be one who goes. To me, that would be the one development player that we want to keep, because I can't see us replacing 11 goals from midfield with what we offer out. A player who's sort of trending the right way in a better team could score even more goals, and all of a sudden there's your 15 goal a season man that we want to sign, and he's yours already. But I think there is going to have to be some juggling of that squad to try and free some wages up, to throw a big wage at a striker, to throw a big wage at a centre mid. Dawes has certainly implied that we are going to try and sign Regan Hendry. I've got a feeling we'll do our usual and we'll be outbid on wages for that, but you never know. Maybe it'll be a different summer.
Yeah, I've got the retain list in front of me here. I think, God, like almost all of us, certainly 90% of the fans, I think if Kane Hemmings were to leave, he would not be missed. I just feel he's a poor choice as captain. The goal ratio isn't enough from him. Does not look like a player happy at the club. The club aren't overly happy with him. That said, he probably is on a fairly decent wage at League Two level. And when you got to think about your family, he is under contract at a football club for another year. So unless there is someone that comes in and is willing to at least match his wage, it may be someone that we see stuck with the club next season. But I don't think it's been a happy relationship with Hemmings, and I don't think he's been unqualified success, which is disappointing because we all thought we'd signed a striker ready for League One when he arrived. And there have been times when he hasn't looked ready for League Two this season. So yeah, I'm not a Paul Lewis fan. I think a bit of a nothing player. The damn term of utility player, which no player wants to be landed with, because it just means where is he actually best at. What I do feel is I think there will surely be sales in the summer. I think the Hawks and Bristol are the obvious two. There've been rumours from various people about Turnbull putting in a transfer request or being unhappy and wanting to go. I wonder whether a couple of sales will be used now to bolster the squad. I think Tom's point is very good. I think Bristow's an excellent left back at League Two level, but would you rather have an okay left back and a goal scorer? Well, it's a no-brainer at the moment. We can all think of moments when Bristow's fizzed a ball across the 6-yard box, twice at Bradford away for a very good example, and we haven't had a forward in the box to put it in. So yeah, I think it'll be very interesting to see what business is done, starting with who the club is willing to sell on. Was it purely a case of we developed Ethan Bristow into what I think is a very, very good League Two left back now, proper wing back, lot of pace, faster than Cogley as they both admitted, and a player who I think will thrive in a good side, which is what we have not been this season. Does that mean that we have 1 year of him and then we cash in? I know that it's been discussed on the show before, but do we have some kind of option on Bristow's contract whereby we're extending it for another year, and so he can actually get a bit more money? That would have made some sense. But Josh Hawkes, again, I wonder whether his post to fans was what was hinting at one that he might not be here. We'd all be disappointed with that. I think he's a player that I think is growing into a role. Certainly one of our few threats going forwards. And I'd throw another player into the mix who I wouldn't be that sorry to see go, and that's Lee O'Connor. I think if someone was to come in with a money offer for him, they've got a perfectly decent defensive midfielder, stroke right back, but somebody who hasn't been tearing up a huge amount of trees this season. Certainly, someone who's gone off the boil. And if we're in talks with Chris Merry for a new contract, would he be the person that would slot into midfield? Someone came in with a money offer for O'Connor. Is that something else the club would look at? But 15 players sounds like a lot, but when you look through the list of the 15 players, I mean, Hockenhull, we've mentioned, we've hardly seen. Brad Walker's just been constantly injured. Unfortunately, he's looked like a disaster of a signing so far. McAleer was packed off back to Scotland fairly quickly. So there are some players on that list that you think haven't been unqualified successes, and some others would the club be interested in letting them go for the right fee? One thing I will say, and I'm sure you both agree with this, I think we will see a very different first 11 when the first game kicks off in August than what we're seeing now. We need some new quality first team ready players in, and I think of the 15 we have now, I'd be very surprised if all 15 of them are still Tranmere players when the season kicks off in August.